Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact reaction. Today we have Passing Memories featuring Faouzia? Yes, Faouzia. This was requested by Harshit in the comments of the last video I did on Genshin, and a lot of people agreed I should be giving it a shot. To be fair, and to say this early, I do not have any sort of real connection to this game. So while I'm very aware that it is a anniversary song of some degree, don't expect me to have any sort of nostalgia attached to the game, because I really don't. The most nostalgia I have to the game is when they overdid their advertisement budget in 2020 and everyone was memeing on them. That's about all I've got when it comes to it. But all in all, I'm still interested in hearing a song that's supposed to encompass the feeling of overall nostalgia, as I usually am. I tend to like nostalgic songs in general, so I'm assuming I'll like this one, but I won't know if I don't get started, so I guess without further ado, let's go. I am also just listening to the song because of the comment saying I should listen to the song or the full video. So I'm just gonna be listening. I'm gonna let the music take me away.
Sometimes it's rainy, sometimes it's cloudy. That's what journey means. Can't see the scene ahead's blurry, but we still must pursue the dream. Travel through the heights and shallows.
They're doing a lot of the nostalgic stuff. The musical structure is very much trying to press on those emotions. They're doing the thing. Beautiful voice, too. I'm vibing. I like this a lot. Beautiful energy to it. I'm really enjoying this, actually. Like I said, it's definitely trying to be nostalgic, but that's fine. It's doing its thing. It makes sense when you're trying to make people nostalgic. You write a song designed to feel that way.
Some words are heavy when some words are light. We are like two meteors that miss each other. We'll finally reunite to catch up with the sunlight, with the brightest.
Hell yeah, sing it.
Softly touch my feet. The freedom I wanna seize takes me to an unknown place at the journey's
She has a great belt. Very healthy belt. Love that. Love that so much. All right, chill, Mariah Carey. Damn. She has a great power to her voice. Good Lord. I love the choir on that too. That added so much to that final refrain. Amazing song, amazingly written already. I'll get into it as to why, but damn. All right, to start off, in between the cut, I went back and listened to the Chinese version and the Japanese versions just to make sure I had the full context of this song in every language I could, and it's beautiful in every single language. I do think I tend to lean towards preferring the English one in this case, just because the vocalist in the English one has such an attractive tone overall. There's not any parts where I feel like they were pinching off or had any struggle with any of the notes. For the Japanese one, I actually do know Mika Nakashima's work. I've heard her in Kiss of Death, for example, that song that was the opening, I believe, for Darling in the Franxx, the anime from I think 2017 or so. I'm a little bit of a weeb, so that's kind of where I picked up that information. I recognize the name. She does have a great tone, but there were definitely a few notes in there where I felt like she was pinching off a little bit. I actually think that the Chinese vocalist is second best. I'm not actually a huge fan of the Japanese one comparatively. They're all really well done, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be like, oh, this one is the definitive version by any means. But there are definitely little characteristics of the tone that I wasn't loving in my ear in the other versions, but they all sound fantastic aside from that. Obviously, that's extremely subjective, and I usually do prefer Japanese versions of songs just because I love the emotion they put into it, and Mika put in her emotion, do not get me wrong. I actually think it was kind of interesting to hear the differences in the phrasing throughout, too, in the different languages. The syllable patterning in Japanese and Chinese, of course, being a lot more aggressive compared to the English one, but they did a pretty decent job. Some of the English was a little bit of a mouthful in order for all of those syllables to be brought in, but like it still sounded really good, and I think the vocalist did a phenomenal job overall. Her voice felt the most comfortable in the range. She flipped into that belt really well and to her head voice, so I think she just knocked it out of the park as far as the vocal quality goes, and the chorus in all of them is beautiful. I did pick up in the comments that the Chinese version at least did utilize the voice actors of the Chinese version of the game, which I think is really cool. I love it when games do that. Bringing in voice actors from the game is always a good opportunity to include more of that world into a song like this, especially for something like an anniversary. You want to have those special features. It means a lot. It's also really cool having it in full in all these languages too, instead of just having like little bits and pieces pulled and made into it for like special events or trailers, a live stream, I assume. And they didn't just do like 2 minutes of the song, they did the whole thing. But for the main beef of this song, I want to talk about exactly what I meant by they're doing the thing with this song and making it feel very uplifting. This key, I'm feeling, is probably B. I may be wrong on that, as I always do say. I am not a professional music theorist. I don't know everything about this, but after playing around with it a little bit, figuring things out, just doing my thing behind the scenes in between cuts here, trying to decide what's going on in this song, I think it's the key of B. This chord progression is very powerful, and by that I mean it uses a lot of sharps and a lot of sharp minors, which means they usually lift up a lot and create a transitional moment to get back to a major chord. So what's happening here is a lot of that. In between the bulk of the chord progression here, it goes into an F sharp major, I think, and then moving to a G sharp minor and then a C sharp minor before it goes back down to a B or an A. It depends on what part of the song you're in and what you're counting as, like, is it a suspended? There's a lot of music theory crap that could be utilized in a lot of these. There's so many notes moving around. It's hard for me, the guy who doesn't know a lot about this sort of thing, to really be specific about what exact chords are happening, but that's what I'm pretty sure is happening here. And that sort of progression, starting with, I believe, what is an E major chord, is just a very lifted sort of thing. It's supposed to make you feel like there's wonder in the world. You know, there's so much to be seen yet. There's so much future ahead of us. It's kind of a wild, bold, and powerful sort of sound. And this sort of progression just adds to that because they're bringing you up, they're tilting it slightly, and they're bringing you back down to a very solid note, another major chord. So there's just a lot of that movement. There's also an argument that they could be utilizing the diatonic of B major, which would allow there to be an E major going on, and that would be pretty cool as a transition because that chord, that key of E, is what I've always said is like the nostalgia chord, and a lot of people agree with me too. It's pretty common in the music theory space to believe in that. It is a very powerful chord, and I think they're utilizing that to the nth degree by starting it there and then only bringing you up and making you feel like there's even more journey out there. This is a song that succeeds, that follows the song that was started in E minor or E, where they want you to feel nostalgic, or they want you to feel that slight pressure, something's a little sad maybe, you know, like they want you to think about it. And then when that's resolved, they shift to this. That relationship is kind of symbiotic in a way, where it's answering the questions the prior song asked. And that is a very powerful move to take. And I feel like that makes total sense, given that this song is supposed to be giving you more hope for the future, that there's a lot more to come, that there was a lot that happened in the past, but there's still bright paths ahead. It totally fits. And like I said earlier, with all the singers, they all did beautifully. They all got that energy in their own way, but they all nailed the energy in the language that they were singing in. I think that specifically just for English, that kind of hit me a little bit harder, because I was able to put myself into those shoes a little bit. And that's why you write a song in multiple languages. If you want people to truly get it, people who are native in that language are probably going to resonate more with that language. Like I also said, there's a lot of people, including myself, that tend to lean to the Japanese in that way, but I feel like a lot of that just comes from the fact that we're honestly weebs. Like, let's be real, somebody who prefers the Japanese version is probably just used to hearing a lot of Japanese music. I am guilty of that, of course. There's no problem with that, but there's definitely a bias to be had. Whereas for this, I think it just works really well in English, and I think that song hit a different way for me. Mainly given that I was able to understand everything, but also that the vocalist, in my opinion, had the best performance out of the three of them. She fucking nailed it, and I think that while everyone else did as well, she just had an extra oomph that grabbed me and pulled me in. But as I also assumed before I got to the song and actually listened to it, I do love songs like this, songs that are designed to be an anniversary thing, a little bit of a celebration, something that's supposed to pull those positive emotions out of you. Even if they can be bittersweet at times, there's still that hopefulness underneath it. Those always feel very powerful to me, and I always end up loving them, and this is definitely no different. If it wasn't clear by my constant and incessant yapping, I do very much love this song. But I think I will leave my yapping there and call it a video here. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other requests from Genshin or any other properties you want me to get to, by all means, leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to get to them as always. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!